The season already feels like early summer, and during the day, it's a bit warm. My daughter, Annabelle, goes to school energetically every day, and recently, we received a letter from the school advising us to send her with a water bottle. One morning, my husband, Asher, called. He should have already left for work, so it was unusual to receive a call at this hour.
Hey, there's been a call from the school.
His anxious voice made me uneasy. Since we had provided Asher's mobile number as an emergency contact at the school, it wasn't surprising that they would reach out to him.
Annabelle had an accident and was taken to the hospital by ambulance.
Asher, is that true?
Come quickly. She's saying, Mom, Mom.
No, because she's not ours. At that moment, I said it with conviction. Annabelle Asher was talking about wasn't our child. But perhaps he was flustered. He practically shouted over the phone.
What are you saying? She's truly our daughter.
You wouldn't know, having left early in the morning.
Ha!
Could you have dialed the wrong number? When I conveyed evidence that the Annabelle Asher mentioned wasn't our daughter, he fell silent and hung up. He must be quite pale right now. That day, Asher didn't come back home. My name is Juliana Delicat. I'm a homemaker who also works part-time while raising my daughter. I met my husband, Asher, through a shared hobby, and after about 2 years of dating, we got married. Our adorable child, whom we named Annabelle, is turning 6 this year. She's now officially a first grader since spring.
Hey, Mom. Do you think I'll be able to make friends when I start elementary school?
On the eve of the entrance ceremony, Annabelle asked me this question with a restless expression. Are you worried?
Yeah.
Well then, let me work some magic.
Magic?
Abracadabra. May Annabelle make lots of friends. I twirled my index finger in the air, and Annabelle looked at me with wide-eyed surprise. Yes, now everything will be fine.
Really? Truly?
Her round eyes bored into mine, and I couldn't help but chuckle. Yeah, truly fine. Now, it's time to sleep. We wouldn't want the magic to wear off. With a mischievous tone, I said that, and Annabelle dashed off to her bedroom, exclaiming, "Wow." Her adorable yet amusing reaction made it hard for me to suppress my laughter. Glancing at the clock, I realized it was already past 11 p.m. Will Asher and Annabelle cross paths today? The thought made me sigh. Although we live together, Asher, Annabelle, and I, we haven't been seeing each other much lately. Asher works from early morning until late at night, and he usually returns home after Annabelle is asleep. Only Asher's portion of dinner sits on the living room table. Wondering whether I should leave a note or just go to bed, it's become routine. Maybe I should sleep now. I have to wake up early tomorrow. I've already informed Asher that tomorrow is Annabelle's entrance ceremony. Annabelle believes he'll be there, and I want to believe it too. But somewhere deep down, I wonder if he might not come. Leaving a note, I got into bed. I work part-time, although my schedule isn't as demanding as Asher's. Consequently, I handle all the household chores and childcare on my own, juggling both housework and my part-time job. As Annabelle starts elementary school, there will be more events like parent-teacher meetings. I don't think I can manage everything alone, and I've been anxious about when I'll be able to discuss this with Asher. The entrance ceremony was quite grand. I felt relieved to see familiar faces from Annabelle's kindergarten and meet acquaintances.
Hey, where's Dad?
After the ceremony, Annabelle looked at me curiously. It seems he couldn't make it today due to work. It's a shame. As expected, Asher had left for work early in the morning. We barely crossed paths a few minutes after waking up, and we couldn't even have a conversation. The memory weighed on my mind, and I suppressed a sigh. I decided to invite Annabelle to lunch, hoping that dining out would distract her from feeling lonely. She was delighted, and I wondered if it would help ease the loneliness a bit. I felt a little unfair to manipulate the situation that way. A few days after the entrance ceremony, I found a letter in the mailbox. It was a plain white envelope with no sender information, addressed simply to Ms. Deli Cat. Unsure whether I should open it, I decided to do so after Annabelle went to bed. That night, after dinner, bath time, and checking her homework, Annabelle fell asleep. Quietly, I went to the living room and cautiously opened the envelope. What could this be? Inside were several photographs. As I took them out, I couldn't believe what I saw. Wait. Is this Asher? The photos depicted Asher, happily playing in a park somewhere. His smile was radiant, the same smile he hadn't directed at me or Annabelle in years. But the recipient of that smile was a child playing alongside him. Not a relative, not a neighbor, someone entirely unknown. The confusion was overwhelming. Where was this place? Whose child was Asher playing with? And who took these photos? The uncertainty left me bewildered, and I desperately wanted to talk to Asher. Just then, I heard the sound of the front door opening.
I'm home.
He mumbled, sounding weary, and entered the living room. I instinctively stood up and confronted Asher with the photos. Look, Asher, these were in the mailbox today. Pictures of you. What's going on? As I fired off the questions, Asher lazily examined the photos, his eyes briefly darting around. But he quickly pushed the photos back toward me.
I don't know. That's not me in those pictures. It's someone who looks like me.
Really?
We're in an age where AI can create photos, you know. It's probably just a prank.
But why?
I have no idea. Don't ask me. I always say you should handle household matters.
With his tie loosened, Asher headed straight for the bedroom. I sat there in shock, staring at the photos again. Was he right? Were these AI-generated photos meant as a prank? It seemed too elaborate for a simple joke. And Asher's eyes when he saw the pictures, the uncertainty was the most suspicious part. Just to be sure, I showed the photos to our in-laws, asking if they recognized the child. But they had no idea. I suspected infidelity, but their disbelieving looks made me doubt myself.
It must be some mistake. Asher is working hard.
Their words silenced me. Still, the unease lingered, and I decided to hire a private investigator to get to the bottom of it. Regardless of the outcome, I vowed to accept it. 2 weeks passed. The season already felt like early summer, and during the day, it was slightly warm. Annabelle continued to go to school energetically, and we received a letter advising us to send her with a water bottle. One morning, Asher called. He should have already left for work, so it was unusual to receive a call at this hour. Hello?
Hey, there's been a call from the school.
His anxious voice made me uneasy. Since we had provided Asher's mobile number as an emergency contact at the school, it wasn't surprising that they would reach out to him.
Annabelle had an accident, and she was taken to the hospital by ambulance.
Is that true, Asher?
Come quickly. She said, Mom. Mom!
I don't want to go. She isn't ours. At that moment, I said with conviction that Annabelle Asher was talking about was not our daughter. He must have been flustered, shouting over the phone.
What are you saying? She's truly our daughter.
Our Annabelle is home today, taking a sick day from school because she caught a cold.
Ha!
You wouldn't know since you left early this morning.
But...
Anyway, Annabelle is right in front of me. Did you dial the wrong number in a panic? Asher swallowed hard and hung up without saying anything. He must be pale-faced by now. That day, Asher didn't come home. I threw away the meal I had prepared for him. The next day, Asher called multiple times. During my break at work, I reluctantly answered, and Asher's voice sounded awkward.
About yesterday.
What? I can't hear you.
Well, once. Can you listen to my explanation?
I'm on my lunch break now. Don't call until I reach out to you. I snapped back with an irritated tone. I could hear Asher's voice on the other end saying, "Wait." But I ignored it and hung up. What more could he possibly explain now? Filled with boiling frustration, I spent the next few days. On a bright and sunny day, I stepped outside to weed my home garden. I wanted to tackle the task before the weeds grew too vigorously. The rain from last night had softened the soil, making the weeding somewhat easier. Armed with gardening gloves and a garbage bag, I got to work. Unexpectedly, someone called out to me. When I turned around, there stood an unfamiliar woman. She tightly pursed her lips and seemed eager to say something. Can I help you?" I asked.
My name is Jade. May I talk to you now?
She said only that, looking quite nervous, and pursed her lips. Yes. Standing here is not good either, so please come inside, I said, suspicious but inviting her into the house. I led her to the living room and served coffee, and Jade began to speak.
It's about Asher.
What? I couldn't comprehend the situation, and my mind was in turmoil.
Please let him liberate.
The situation left me bewildered, my thoughts in disarray. Liberate him? Are you talking about some religious matter? I was puzzled.
No.
Jade said firmly.
Until now, I've endured it, but after this incident, I thought it was about time we lived as a family. Annabelle is waiting too.
Wait a moment. Before that, how do you know the address here?
Asher's driver's license had this address.
I was getting more confused. By seeing Asher's driver's license, what do you mean? And what do you mean by this incident? As I expressed my bewilderment, Jade seemed surprised and taken aback.
Asher and I are dating with marriage in mind. You know about Annabelle being taken to the hospital after an accident recently, right?
Hearing that, I realized it was about the incident when Asher called by mistake the other day. Could that child at the time be her daughter, Annabelle? As I blinked in surprise, Jade also wore a puzzled expression.
Huh? But you're his older sister, aren't you? You know, right?
His older sister? You mean I'm Asher's older sister?
That's what Asher told me.
Feeling that something was off, I decided to start by understanding the relationship. Apologies, but I am Asher's wife. Annabelle, who just started elementary school, is our daughter.
Huh? You're joking, right? Asher said you were his divorced and returned sister and niece.
What? As I furrowed my brow, Jade continued.
Asher feels sorry for you both and has been letting you live in his house.
What?
That's what I heard. Isn't that true?
That's completely wrong. Asher and I are married, and we have a daughter named Annabelle. We live in this house as a family. Jade continued, her voice trembling.
But Asher always plays with Annabelle, takes her to the park.
The park? I recalled the photo in the envelope that had arrived in the mail. She had taken that picture.
Yes, I put the photo in there. I thought if I applied pressure, you'd leave on your own.
Asher said those were prank photos created by an AI, but it seems he was lying.
Asher wouldn't say something like that. Those photos are about us.
She trailed off, tears streaming down her face as she tried to suppress her sobs.
We were even planning to register our marriage when Annabelle's birthday came.
Jade sobbed, muttering, "Why?" For a while, we sat in silence. Neither of us knew what to do, feeling lost. One thing was certain amidst the soul-crushing emotions: Asher had deceived both me and Jade. No, he had deceived Annabelle too. The weight of this betrayal was immense. Breaking the silence, Jade spoke first.
I apologize for losing my composure. I'll go home for now and come back later. I need to hear the truth from Asher too.
Quietly, I stopped her as she tried to rise from her seat and said, "Jade, I also want to hear the truth from Asher."
Huh?
But think about it. He's the man who deceived both of us and Annabelle.
Deceived. Yes, you're right.
Do you really think someone like that will tell us the whole truth? After hesitating, Jade shook her head.
I don't think so. I feel like he'll just pile on more lies.
That's entirely possible. Shall we join forces? Let's make Asher confess the truth and overtake him. I extended my right hand for a handshake and declared,
I agree with you. I can't stand not knowing the truth.
and so, we devised a plan to extract the truth from Asher. A few days later, I entrusted Annabelle to my in-laws and headed to a certain location. As I left my parents-in-law's house, Annabelle looked at me with a worried expression.
I want to come too.
Today, Grandpa and Grandma are ordering pizza.
I want to be with Mom.
Though she was unusually stubborn, I managed to leave her with my mother-in-law. Annabelle must have sensed the tension in my face. Along the way, I silently apologized to her multiple times. The place I was heading to wasn't pleasant. It was the restaurant where Asher and Jade would have dinner tonight. Jade was also leaving Annabelle with her parents. I entered the restaurant where the two of them were supposed to enjoy their dinner. A waiter stopped me and asked if I had a reservation. I have a reservation with those two. I pointed to Asher and Jade, who were sitting a little further away. The waiter apologized and stepped back, allowing me to approach their table. Asher was visible from the aisle. As I walked toward him, Asher noticed me. His expression was comically surprised, as if he'd seen a ghost. Asher, it's been a while. How's Annabelle doing?
Juliana? Why are you here?
While Asher blinked in surprise, I slammed the divorce papers and alimony claim documents onto the table from my bag. Do you understand what this means? In front of the bewildered Asher, Jade also pulled out a paper from her bag.
Indeed, there's something I'd like to give you too.
The paper was labeled alimony claim. Jade's calm eyes didn't hold any trace of a smile. Asher glanced back and forth between the two of us. Ignoring his reaction, I sat next to Jade and watched Asher's eyes well up with tears. With his shoulders slumped, Asher gazed at the paper in front of him. At this point, just confess everything.
No, it's not what you think.
How is it different? Please explain.
I'm sorry, but...
Since when? Since when did you start a relationship with Jade? Asher, his face drained of color, hesitantly began to speak.
It was after I found out Juliana was pregnant. You stopped paying attention to me, and I made a terrible mistake.
Unbelievable!
Jade covered her mouth with both hands, clearly shocked.
But, I loved both of you.
Don't play games. Asher, can you say the same thing to my Annabelle? To Jade's Annabelle too?
This is the truth. I couldn't choose.
His absurd explanation left both Jade and me speechless. To claim love for both of us in this situation was utterly absurd. Suppressing my boiling anger, I refrained from knocking him down right then and there. Please divorce me. I can no longer live with Asher. The waitstaff looked at us, confronting each other in a stylish space, with concern.
I understand. I agree to the divorce.
Asher slowly took a pen from his breast pocket and signed the divorce papers. In front of both me and Jade, he was confronted with his own sins and probably couldn't say anything more. Even if he had said something, it would have been in vain, but it was too clean and a little scary. You're taking this rather lightly.
I'm happy to be able to divorce you quickly.
He said something insincere with a sullen face. He probably admitted it early in hopes of reducing the alimony. But that thought is naive. Just so you know, I won't agree to a reduction in alimony.
What? What are you talking about?
You're well aware that you've been leading a double life with me and Jade, having affairs with both of us. I pulled out an envelope with the results of the investigation from the detective agency. Jade's child and our Annabelle are in the same grade. Isn't that strange?
You hired a detective agency? You doubted me.
The day the photos were sent, you told me to take care of the house and left everything to me. Asher was speechless under my fierce demeanor. You were always playing the father at either house when I was pregnant and when Jade was pregnant.
This is a huge betrayal. Don't you think, Asher?
Please settle things properly. Asher was at a loss for words and nervously looked over the amount on the invoice. Both were very high amounts. Afterward, Asher repeatedly apologized to me and Jade, trying to get a reduction. However, his actions were malicious, and when we refused to lower the alimony, he became quiet. The waitstaff and other customers looked on with concern as Jade and I left the restaurant together. Asher was still sitting there, crying and shrinking. When I walked back briskly, I felt a sense of relief and naturally smiled. I filed for divorce the next day. There's no time to indulge in sentimentality, like being single again. I still have to clean up the house where I lived with Asher. I packed all of Asher's used dishes, towels, toothbrushes, etc., into trunks and cardboard boxes and sent them to his parents' house. Since it's in the same city, it should arrive within 2 or 3 days. I informed the in-laws about the divorce. Initially, they opposed it, but after presenting evidence of Asher's and Jade's actions and the detective agency's findings, they had nothing to say. In the end, they apologized for what Asher had done.
I'm sorry for the trouble. It's very sad that we won't be able to see Annabelle, but it can't be helped.
Although the in-laws did nothing wrong, I also felt it was a pity that Annabelle would not be able to see her grandparents. I thought maybe it would be okay to let her see them about once a month, and when I suggested this, the in-laws were pleased. As for Asher, he left the house where Annabelle and I live and is now living in a cheap apartment. The house was in both Asher's and my name, but when we settled the property, it was changed to my name. Asher has taken on debt to pay a substantial amount of alimony and is working tirelessly day and night to repay it. Occasionally, he calls my smartphone, tearfully apologizing.
Juliana, I'm sorry. Can we start over again?
It's impossible. Don't make me say the same thing over and over.
Please, let's get back together. This time, I'll take proper care of Annabelle.
You're being persistent. If you say anything more, I'll go to the police.
The police.
I'll file a report for stalking. When I said that, Asher started sobbing and abruptly hung up the phone. Since then, I haven't received any more calls from him. I heard later that Jade had also received similar calls several times.
Asher, to be clear, it's a nuisance. Please don't call anymore.
Jade said that firmly.
Even you, Jade!
If you call again, I'll go to the police.
With that, Jade hung up the phone. I imagine she was pursing her lips tightly, just like when we first met. Since then, she hasn't received any more calls from Asher either. Now, it seems that Jade and her daughter Annabelle are living together, occasionally visiting her parents' home as well. And she has started to meet with me and my Annabelle. Today, we are planning to visit Jade's house, and Annabelle and I are on our way there by train.
Hey, Mom, it's exciting, isn't it?
Yes, make sure to get along well.
Sure, leave it to me.
Annabelle, who has perhaps learned this at school, puffs out her chest and says such things, which is a bit reassuring. Jade lives in the next town over, about a 10-minute train ride away. That park is also near Jade's house. It's something I don't quite see in my neighborhood. I met her through a strange twist of fate, but now she's become a mom friend with whom I can talk about anything. Maybe it's because we both liked the same man. As I think about this, the name of the station we need to get off at is announced on the train. Annabelle, we're getting off at the next station.
Okay.
Annabelle smiled excitedly. When we got off the station, I received a message from Jade.
Juliana, have you arrived at the station yet?
I have. I'm just outside the ticket gates. Perhaps because it's daytime, there aren't many people walking around. I hold Annabelle's hand with one hand and my smartphone with the other, looking around once more. We were supposed to be picked up at the meeting place, but I don't see anyone who looks like they're waiting.
Oh, Mom, over there.
Suddenly, Annabelle pulled my hand. Surprised, I turned in that direction, and there were Jade and her Annabelle. Jade was holding a parasol, giving off a cool impression.
Sorry to keep you waiting. I just got caught at that traffic light.
It's okay. We just got here. We started walking towards the park. As we talked, it felt as if we had known each other for a long time, a sense of nostalgia and closeness emerging. It seemed the same for Annabelle's, who were holding hands and frolicking despite having just met. Be careful not to fall, Annabelle! Annabelle didn't seem to hear me and kept walking ahead.
She must have been looking forward to this a lot. My Annabelle is so happy too.
Yeah. It's good that they get along so well. Since the trouble with Asher, both Jade and I have been frequently reminding our Annabelles about one thing: not to betray others. Betrayal hurts those who trusted us and can cause sadness. And sometimes, that lost trust cannot be restored. Of course, it's a bit of a difficult concept for the Annabelles right now. But it's something I want to teach them, even if I have to repeat it over and over.
Don't worry, they'll surely understand one day.
Yes, they will. As we talked, we were almost at the park. Across the traffic light in front of us, the park came into view. It wasn't clear from the photos, but there was grass and playground equipment, and it seemed quite spacious. It looked like we would be playing tag and returning home exhausted today.
Mom, I can see the park.
Despite my worries, Annabelle's eyes were shining. With our teachings in her heart, she will surely grow up freely. No, she is already growing up, without a doubt.
How did you like this story? Please remember to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.